I have with me David Pakman. He is a progressive host and executive producer of the nationally syndicated radio and TV program, The David Pakman Show. And I wanted to talk to David Pakman. He is a beta male. David Pakman. He is a beta male. So beta male. David Pakman. He is a beta male. David Pakman. He is a beta male. So beta male.
Can you remind the audience, when you talk about being a beta male and being an alpha male, what are we talking about here?
There are males, most men today.
Yeah.
Male, they think and act like a woman. They're emotional. They are mentally off. They have no logic. And that's a beta male. They go along with homosexuality.
Whoa, Jesse, we got it. That's a lot.
LGBTQ.
That's a lot.
They agree with everything that's wrong. Abortion, they think and act just like a woman. A beta male does. But another beta male doesn't, because he's a logical thinking. And they're controlled by the darkness of David Pakman. He is a beta male. David Pakman. He is a beta male. A beta male. David Pakman. He is a beta male. David Pakman. He is a beta male. A beta male. David Pakman. He is a beta male. David Pakman. He is a beta male. A beta male. David Pakman. He is a beta male. David Pakman. He is a beta male. A beta male. David, you're not here to communicate. I really appreciate you coming on. I'm going to let you go. It's a waste of time to talk to you. We're not communicating. You're acting like an idiot.
Because you're asking bizarre questions.
You're
and not
acting
answering
like an
any.
idiot, and you're wasting my time. I appreciate
ad
you
hominem.
coming. All right, thank you for coming.
So you know
Goodbye.
that.
Goodbye. Let him go. That's a progressive vote. All men who are progressive, or males who are progressive, are weak people. They are weak people, and why having people on? It doesn't even make sense. They don't come to communicate.
All right, welcome everybody. That is
Let's go to the phones.
Hold on a second. That is the new and updated introduction. We've got some new clips in there, and it's all very, very exciting. I'm going to be very honest with you guys. I have no idea what, if anything, we are going to be seeing today. There was an event scheduled in Pennsylvania to be attended by both Donald Trump and Rudy Giuliani, as well as others, about voter fraud, as some call it, voter fraud, as others call it. Anyway, someone got coronavirus. We actually don't know who at this point in time. So we know that Trump, I guess, is no longer going to this thing. We had a tweet recently from Caitlin Collins saying Trump's planned trip to Pennsylvania is off after a member of the campaign tested positive. Tested positive. We don't yet know who that individual is or whether there is any.
All right, good.
Whoa, what was that? Where did that come from? Oh, here it is. Oh, okay. So there is an event. Let's see. Mike Jones. I'm trying to see who it is. So, okay, there is an event. We don't know exactly who's going to be at this event, but Pennsylvania is still having an event today related to Freud, I guess. It's going to be Freudian in nature, and we are going to be following it very, very closely. But we don't yet know who all is going to be here. We don't know if Rudy Giuliani is going to be here. This feed is monitoring the White House, of course, and then we have a Right Side Broadcasting feed as well. So we'll keep it here for the time being. We'll be muted. I have so much to talk to you guys about, and I am going to be reading super chats. John Person just said release the Pac-Man because I'm at an undisclosed location for Thanksgiving. The super chats don't show up on the screen, but everybody on YouTube still sees them, and I see them, so I'm glad to take super chats. Ralph says, what up, Deepak? That's a great super chat. Very exciting. And Jane says she can't stay, but will rewatch later. So we don't know what we have waiting for us today, but it is going to be something. Now, there's all sorts of news that I do want to get to. I have Troy York and Prickless Guy voicemails to play. I have one new song. We have the news of the tragic death of Argentinian soccer superstar Diego Armando Maradona. And we could review maybe his 2 famous goals in all of history. That's something else I would be willing to look at with you guys. Maybe we'll just do that real quick just to get that going. Argentina football legend Diego Maradona dies at 60. Matias Morla, Maradona's longtime agent, confirmed to EFE. The World Cup winner was recently hospitalized and underwent brain surgery, was released on November 11th. The Argentine Football Association released a statement through its president, Claudio Tapia, saying it expresses its deepest pain at the death of our legend, Diego Armando Maradona. You'll always be in our hearts. Maradona won the 86 World Cup with Argentina, played for Barcelona at the club level as well as Napoli, whom he helped lead to the Serie A title, reportedly of a heart attack in recovery from the brain surgery. Not the healthiest guy for a very long time. And we have a couple of videos that we can review here. This is the infamous Hand of God goal, where he is accused of using his hand to score. I don't know about that. Let's take a look at it.
The wide men have found little space in this contest. Just not sure of Olatico chair at the moment.
I think this was a perfect goal.
Haven't seen that much of hard-jaw Trevor Steven. Maradona just walked away from Hoddle then.
There it is, and in. And did he use his hand or not? That is the question.
They're appealing for offside. The ball came back off the foot of Steve Hodge.
And let's see if we can get the replay.
The ball came from Hodge.
I don't know, guys. I mean, let's even look at it in slow motion. Playback speed 0.25. The left hand is going up there. I think that was a clean header, guys. I don't know. It might be because I'm Argentinian that I'm saying that, but I think he was just blocking the sun with that hand or something like that. I'm also an idiot. Here is maybe one of his most famous goals, evading and avoiding, basically all of the defenders. Take a look at this.
Ahí la tiene Maradona, lo marcan dos, pisa la pelota Maradona, arranca por la derecha el genio del fútbol mundial, y es el tercer gol, la lucha que siempre Maradona, genio, ta.
Isn't that the best? Anyway, so very, very sad news. The death of a superhero in my country, Diego Armando Maradona. So very, very sad. And we may or may not have more coverage of that in the future. I really don't know. But rest in peace. And there's an interesting series on Netflix where he's coaching a Mexican team more recently. And he seems to be high the entire series. It's really sad, actually. But there it is. Okay, we are standing by for a voter fraud hearing in Pennsylvania, originally scheduled to be attended by Donald Trump. But he will not be going because someone has Corvid. We don't exactly know who. A few other super chats coming in. AC asking whether I'm canvassing with Stephen Destiny Bennell in Georgia. I am not. I'm not flying around right now because of the virus. But I did appear on Destiny's stream late last night as I was brushing my teeth, getting ready to go to bed. And we may do some live streaming where I will stream while Destiny is down in Georgia. Other super chats coming in. Shane says, using this moment to teach you science, baking soda in your brine will denature the proteins in turkey skin, making it crispy when you cook it. Important message for people making a turkey. Justin says, would like to see a behind the scenes of your tech setup at home. Mic software you're using for broadcast. Yeah, so that setup, I'm not at home right now. I'm in what's called the bunker. It's a family location, very strong bunker. But what I have here as a backup setup is an EVRE20, my old mic arm, same camera I use in the main studio, a little portable light, and just like a 2-monitor setup. So it's a pretty simple setup here. Joseph points out CNN said Trump is not going to be at this event. Yeah, so we recently heard that because of someone testing positive for coronavirus, we are not going to be seeing Donald Trump at this event. We don't know exactly who we will be seeing at this event. Now, did the video freeze? This guy looks very still. It looks like the video may be frozen. Oh, no, it's not. Wow, that guy's just sitting as still as I've ever seen a human be. That's interesting. Yeah, weird. So anyway, we're standing by for all of this scheduled for the bottom of the hour. Want to say some thanks to people signing up over on Twitch. Thanks to Kiros and A Danish Joint, as well as Stellar Legacy, The Great Pudini, yikes, K Dizzle, Nada, Amenzor, and Sufferruth, all of these folks signing up over on Twitch, which I very much appreciate. And also a big thank you to Sven Ake Johansson, who just signed up at joinpacman.com and is new member number 1. Look at that. It's just a little tiny sliver of blue there, which is very, very exciting. All right, it looks like this event is continuing to move forward. A couple of other things to get to. I do have one new song that I want to play for you guys. This is a song of a Jimmy from Philly phone call. We've never had this before. This is from Christian Audette, who I believe produced this song in Nigeria. Just take a listen to this. Let's see. Oh, you know who's on hold? Jimmy from Philly, the angry gardener or landscaper who leaves like 10 voicemails a night, is on the phone. I'm curious maybe he can explain to us what he's doing. Jimmy, what's going on?
David, can you hear me?
We can hear you fine, yeah.
I didn't see any genitalia. My eyes saw a man, and my ears heard a man.
Okay.
So how is that disgusting? For me to make that true observation, I don't see how that's disgusting. Now, the caller before made a couple leery remarks, but I did not.
Let me ask you something, just since I have you on the phone. When you call in like 5 times in a row near midnight Eastern time,
I'm probably drinking, David.
You have been drinking, you said.
And Twitch is such a piece of app.
Oof.
At least on a mobile phone. I mean, it was such a pain in the ass to set it up. And then to try to actually, like, post a message? I mean, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
It was just, oh my God, after 5 minutes, I thought it was hilarious.
All right.
But David, here's my real question.
Oh.
Why are you gonna discuss what was it that he covered?
All right, Jimmy, that's enough. That's enough, Jimmy. Okay, Jimmy's he just likes misgendering people. Who, boring. We're beyond. So there it is, a Jimmy from Philly call going desperately wrong, and very, very quickly, might I add. And then I do have a couple new voicemails to play for you guys. This is Troy York calling in with another screed.
Calling about your video on Kayleigh McNamee, and
McNamee.
What is with you and Kyle Kalinske? You guys are always like attacking Tommy Lahern.
Tommy Lahern, who is that?
Kayleigh McNamee.
McNamee.
It's just like something with you guys and conservative, hot-looking women. I don't know. Are you guys like radical homosexuals like Don Lemon, or basically are you just upset you can't get a hot-looking woman like Kayleigh McNamee, and you just lie and attack her? I always thought Kyle was the spineless little dickless wonder who always attacked conservative women, and which he often does on his stupid show. But I was really surprised that you now seem to be doing that as well.
What I was about to say, what Jimmy from Philly. This is Troy York, though. Whoa, interesting mask. I've never seen that. This is an interesting. He's like wearing like a tube. What Troy doesn't seem to understand, it's not that we're going after attractive conservative women. It's that we just go after bad ideas, regardless of the attractiveness or gender of the person who is issuing the bad idea. It's that simple.
Are you having like sexual issues or anger problems because you can't get a woman like Kayleigh McEnany? You are such a far left idiot, and I don't understand. Donald Trump's not going to allow this election fraud to continue. You talk about Michigan, how after she came on they certified, but what you fail to say was the reason that Michigan, you had the 2 or 3 Republicans who switched.
Anyway, so as you can see, that's like insanely boring. And then I have one other voicemail, something about sexual assault. Let me listen to this.
Hey, David Pakman, we know that you committed a felonious sexual assault act on a person under the age of 13 years. We will be putting you on blast on all social networks this week.
Okay, so there's that. This has happened before where I've heard from people who say, David, if you're all about investigate allegations and all this stuff, we'll show you how easy it is to make false allegations. We're going to make allegations of sexual assault against you. And some people actually tried calling newspapers claiming that I had committed a sexual assault, and it went nowhere because obviously they were false allegations, and it completely backfired. That's actually a story from a couple, I guess about a year. It's from the Kavanaugh era. And it was like a complete self-own. It was auto cuckoldry, I guess is what I would call it. Really wild stuff. Okay, so we're caught up on voicemails. Oh, I have one more Troy York voicemail that I've not pre-screened. Are you guys interested in hearing it? I've not listened to it, so it really could be anything. I don't know if that's something people want to take a quick listen to before we move on to other things. I don't know if it's Prickless Guy. I don't know that I have anything from Prickless Guy. Let me see. Prickless Guy. No, I don't. This is a new Troy York track, fresh off the presses. Oh, whoops, hold on a second. I muted this. Let me unmute, and then we will go back to the beginning. Here we go.
Hey, David Pakman, this is Troy York. Just want to let you know that President Trump had a briefing. The Dow has gone over 30,000.
The dal? What is that? Like the Indian dish, dal? Is that lentils? I think dal is lentils in Indian. He had a dal briefing? That's weird.
Despite the attempts by the Democrats and the far left to wreck the economy, to use this pandemic overhyping to destroy our will and morals. I just want to say that you keep referring to Joe Biden as president, and
no, I'm referring to him as president-elect. I'm not referring to him as president. He's not the president. I wouldn't do something so stupid.
Well, I got 2 words about Joe Biden that you have to remember about his supposedly election and how he's bringing these same retreads out from post administrations. It's disgraceful, picking John Kerry and Janet Yellen and this old skull, this fucking scarecrow, this ugly walking corpse, this fuckface from hell, this fucking gray-haired dictator, this.
How triggered, huh? I mean, it's amazing. These people are so triggered that Donald Trump and his incompetent selections are quickly going out. I mean, it's that simple. They're going out, and we're just putting in. They could be people we disagree with on some political issues, but they're just normal people, not lunatic extremist ideologues. And by the way, here is Donald Trump. He did a 46-second press conference yesterday. Check this out. This is so pathetic.
Well, thank you very much. And I just want to congratulate everybody. The stock market, Dow Jones Industrial Average just hit 30,000.
By the way, who is he congratulating? Hi, I just want to congratulate everybody. The Dow hit 30,000. Who's the congratulations for?
Which is the highest in history. We've never broken 30,000, and that's just despite everything that's taken place with the pandemic. I'm very thrilled with what's happened on the vaccine front. That's been absolutely incredible. It's nothing like that has ever happened medically, and I think people are acknowledging that. and it's having a big effect. But the stock market's just broken 30,000. Never been broken, that number. That's a sacred number, 30,000.
What does he mean sacred? What's sacred about that? That's bizarre.
Nobody thought they'd ever see it. That's the 9th time since the beginning of 2020. And it's the 48th time that we've broken records during the Trump administration. And I just want to congratulate all the people within the administration that worked so hard. And most importantly, I want to congratulate the people of our country.
Right.
Because there are no people like you. Thank you very much, everybody.
Very strong public appearance. And then, hold on, John Kerry. There's this other clip, speaking of John Kerry. This is a really good thing. Maybe we'll get to this a little bit later, but not quite yet. So I know people are telling me that this meeting that we have live video of has been canceled. What has been all we know so far is Trump was expected to be here, and Trump won't be here because someone tested positive for the virus, and we don't yet know who. But the meeting does appear to be going on. There are people in the room already, and we are standing by. It's scheduled to start in about 5 minutes. Give Me Your Milk, Please has subscribed with Twitch Prime and says, love the show, David. When will you have Destiny on again? I don't know. I was on with Destiny for about 45 minutes last night, and maybe that's something Destiny will be posting to his YouTube channel. We've got a few other super chats coming in. Robert Mugabe says, that wasn't a handball. You're watching too much Trump, my guy, rubbing off on you. Dan of Earth says, love how Pence looks like a marionette doll. Yabbits asks, do I believe Secret Service agents are safer guarding Biden-Harris than the White House? The metrics would be interesting. Best of all to the family. Best to all the family. Yeah, I assume so, because Biden and Harris are being less irresponsible. Vosh is here. Oh, wow, look, Vosh coming in with a strong super chat. Howdy, howdy, my dude. Hope you're well. My fans enjoyed our talk. Very fun talking with a liberal who actually knows what socialism is. Enjoy Thanksgiving. Wow, it's great to hear from Vosh, and it was great having him on. Somebody told me just to refer to him as Ian, that Ian is his real name, but I think that was just somebody egging me on. But great to see Vosh, and best of luck to everybody from the standpoint of Thanksgiving. Keep it safe. I will be doing just I'm going to be involved in just like a food exchange. My girlfriend and I are making a couple dishes, and then different people are making different dishes, and we're just exchanging them in an outdoor setting, and everybody will kind of make their own, reheating these various dishes that will be made by people. So that's going to be that. We're not expecting too much else. We are standing by here for a press briefing about voter fraud, and we don't know who's going to be here. Donald Trump reportedly canceling his appearance at this hearing because somebody tested positive for coronavirus. I want to say thanks to Johanna Krumholtz, who's new member number 2 today, and Laura P., who is new member number 3. I do want to make this is going to be a very polite and limited appeal to everybody. Over the last 10 days, we have had more people cancel memberships than in any previous 10-day period because of what's going on economically, because of job losses, because of what's going on financially for a lot of people. So if you are in that situation, do not get a membership. In fact, I will be furious with you if you get a membership. Do not do that. I don't want anybody's last dollar. If you are in a position where you're in the privileged position of being able to support independent media that you like with a couple bucks a month, grab a membership at joinpacman.com. As you can see above my head, we have a brand new coupon code, Fresh Start. All one word, all lowercase, even though it looks like all caps there. That's confusing. But in any case, maybe all caps also works. All lowercase, all caps, whatever. That saves you 70% off. Joe Biden reportedly will make that heavy of a discount illegal. So I would take advantage of the discount code now. Those may be against the law once President-elect Biden is sworn in. And every time somebody signs up, the blue bar starts to fill up, which is incredible. And I will thank everybody on stream, which is wild. Okay, let's see what else we have going on. I see a lot of people asking me for my thoughts on Thanksgiving. I'm going to be totally frank with you. I don't think Thanksgiving dishes are that good. I really don't. I think Hanukkah dishes are much better. A nice Hanukkah brisket. I mean, what's better than that? If you say, look, you can have a slow cooked 10-hour brisket or turkey. Come on, guys. Come on. You don't have to be American, and I'm not, to understand that is a very, very easy choice. Mashed potatoes, I'm not big on. We already ranted about pie last week. It's like pie. Come on, guys, pie. So anyway, yeah, I'm not that big of a fan of any of the dishes, really. Sweet potatoes. I love sweet potatoes. With the marshmallow, give me a break. Brown sugar. You're turning the sweet potato, which is a perfect vegetable, into candy, essentially. And I know that I'm being called a communist for expressing these ideas. Absolutely not. I am resisting that. Octos Alias says, 45 short press conference, likely an act of attrition to CEOs who pressured him to let the transition continue. That may be. Zachary Thomas agrees with me, brisket all the way. I mean, listen, there's people who want me to go further into the turkey versus brisket thing. It's no contest. What is there to even go into? Brisket versus turkey? Come on, guys. It's ridiculous. Big thank you to Alexin Angiano, who is new member number 4 today, and Emmanuel Egwu, who is new member number 5 at joinpacman.com. For people just joining me and telling me that the press conference is canceled, we are watching the press conference right now. You understand? People coming in saying, David, you're an idiot. This is canceled. It's on our screen right now. It's about to start. What we've learned is that due to someone testing positive, Donald Trump is not going to be here. And we don't know whether Rudy Giuliani is going to be here. But that is that. Bing is calling for Thanksgiving Chopino. Jose says his puppy was born on election day. Edward appreciates my views and blunt honesty. Aunt and Sharon say happy Thanksgiving, David, and shalom. Shalom. Baron says I couldn't agree with you more about Thanksgiving. Very strong stance on sweet potatoes. Make sweet potatoes vegetables again. Yeah, somebody told me, I'm not going to say who it is. I don't want to out them. They made this sweet potato dish where you take it's only 3 or 4 sweet potatoes and you put a half cup of brown sugar on them and maple syrup, and then you cook it for 45 minutes. That's a dessert, guys. That's not a vegetable. That's not a vegetable. I hate to tell you. And I know that I know I'm losing. People are bailing because of my views on this, but I am unapologetically sticking with this. There's just no way around it. Few other people that I want to thank. Wow, the memberships are exploding. Let's see if I can get caught up here. Joshua Bryant is new member number 6 today. Chris Friedrich is new member number 7. Zachariah Applebaum is new member number 8. Shalom, Zachariah. Josh Hoagland is new member number 9. Matt Beck is number 10. And Chris Kilsdonk is a number 11, which is a great number. We are standing by for a press conference in Pennsylvania about voter fraud. Donald Trump scheduled to be here, canceled because someone got the virus. We don't know who. And when I say that, I'm not suggesting Trump got it. As far as we know, Trump is immune, at least for some period of time. Could just be a few months. But he is not going to be here, and we are waiting. We are waiting to see who does show up. Maybe Rudy Giuliani. We don't know. Let's make sure we still have audio. There we go. And we'll check out some other streams here.
Today begins the process for the Trump.
Okay. So there is that. We're just going to mute that and keep it live. Yikes. I don't know what's going on with this feed. Oh, okay. Here we go. Yeah, so it's happening. Please don't come into the chat and tell me it's canceled, guys. It's just annoying. It's a waste of a chat. You could tell me something interesting in the chat. Instead, you're telling me something that we are literally watching live has been canceled. It's boring. It's boring. We don't like it. Okay. Oh, one other thing. I have one other mimetic element. This is me as David Beckham. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the soccer player David Beckham, but take a look at this. Look at me bend it. Bend it like Pac-Man. High and tight there. There we go. All right. So anyway, I got that out of the way for the person who made that, which I very much appreciate. And I think with that, I'm basically caught up on all memes. Yeah, I'm caught up on all memes as far as that goes. Okay, let me do a few Twitch thank yous. Thanks to JBH, That's Me, Fat Colonel Sanders, Tiger 40, Barons in Chess, Thridius, Kidizzle, Adir, Unzi Punzi, Vanishing Tacos, all of whom have signed up, and I very much appreciate that. Yeah, the color saturation is, everybody looks Trump orange because of the color saturation on this video feed. That's really weird. This, I believe, is the Pennsylvania state flag, for any of you who were wondering.
I know how to get them.
Well, what's going on now?
The appointed time having come and gone, let's ask our state senators and our state representatives to join us. Today's Senate Majority Policy Committee hearing is the second of our hearings this year, designed to help us learn more about the conduct of the 2020 elections in Pennsylvania.
What do we need to learn?
Today's hearing was requested by Senator Doug Mastriano, who, in addition to serving the 264,000 residents of the 33rd District in Adams, Cumberland, Franklin, and York counties, also serves as the chair of the Senate's Intergovernmental Operations Committee. As Dr. Mastriano can attest, this subject is an excellent example, not of the normal layer cake model of intergovernmental operations, but of the marble cake model. We have examples of local government, county government, state government, and federal government, all very much involved in the design and conduct of an election. And as we've seen, not always in a logical, rational, or understandable model.
This is going to be a mess.
I have frequently reminded the students in the college classes which I have taught, as well as more recently our own governor, that senators and representatives and governors are not kings, we're not judges, we're not dictators. We are agents of public opinion, elected by the people for a fixed term as lawmakers to provide oversight on behalf of the public
is this?
Over our government agencies and, of course, as lawmakers. We're here today because we have all been receiving massive numbers of phone calls and emails and personal comments when we're out walking our dogs in our neighborhoods about the conduct of this election. My office has received a record number of contacts, over 25,000 phone calls and emails as of yesterday.
So what evidence
We
do you
all
have?
know that Pennsylvania's Secretary of the Commonwealth changed the guidance to election officials the day before the November 3rd election, which added a completely new element of doubt to our process. Issues that should have been resolved by the legislature, as recommended by Supreme Court Justice Max Baer, were instead carried out by the Secretary without the approval of the Senate or the House. This committee held a similar event in January of 2020 on recent changes to our state's election laws. At that time, the Secretary of the Commonwealth assured us that this process would be carried out smoothly. The large number of complaints which we have received from our constituents tells us a very...
Notice there's nothing in here about anything suggesting Biden didn't win. That's what's notably missing from this.
Senator Mastriano and his staff have assembled a number of witnesses who will share their experiences with us regarding
witnesses.
the conduct of this year's election.
This should be good.
We look forward to listening to that testimony. But before we turn there, I want to introduce my good friend, our caucus administrator, and as of December 1st, our incoming majority leader. Congratulations to Kim Ward. Thank you for joining us. Please, Kim.
They're going to have witnesses. This should be a mess.
Thank you, Senator Argel. And thank you, Senator Mastriano, for inviting me to participate in what I think is very, very important to the people of Pennsylvania. As Senator Argel has said, we have been inundated with calls and emails and messages in our social media People are not feeling good nor confident about the process and the results because of that process.
What people?
The president and his team deserve. This is a president of the United States, not the president of your middle school board. So we need to make sure that they have the room that they need to explore every avenue. So when this is over, we know that the process, what worked in it, what didn't work in it, and what we need to do to fix it, and what we may need to do to address it.
Don't we know that
this
now?
This has been very, very exhausting and hard on so many in Pennsylvania. And I look forward to listening to what the testifiers and Mr. Giuliani have to say to us today. So thank you very much again. And
oh my God.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Senator Mastriano.
Senator.
Thank you, Kim. Senator
so
Mastriano,
Rudy's here.
Please.
Thank you, Senator Argel and Senator Ward. Thank you for being here and supporting this here, and welcome everybody to this most historic occasion and this most historic town.
He's
and
acting like it's a party.
In 1863. I think today we're going to see a turning of the tide because we have not really heard the truth of the arguments made on the other side on what happened. And when we're dealing with a government and leadership in Harrisburg that wants to close their ears to what's happened during this election, and sadly many in the media that are complicit and want to write off what happened.
Can you imagine?
So for me, on this battlefield and remembering what happened 157 years ago, especially 157 years ago last week, where Abraham Lincoln gave his most famous address, and I think his final sentence captures why we're here today. He said,
imagine equating this to the Battle of Gettysburg. Could you, I mean, what is wrong with these people?
For the people shall not perish from the earth. And everything is at stake in what happened during this election cycle. Everything. The republic is at stake. This is no game for us. And for any veteran in this room here who wore the uniform, such as Brigadier General Scott Perry, thank you for being here, sir.
Veterans.
Put their lives on the line here fighting for a country, and to see that there is a...
They're acting like Biden didn't win.
...to throw away our valuable and precious freedoms here for power. You know, for me...
Is he going to cry?
Here we go. And Mr. Mayor, it's going to be a fantastic hearing today.
Mr. Mayor,
Despite
did he
pleas
say?
from our citizens, the governor refuses to even consider that there was any shenanigans in the elections here in our state. A state of 13 million people, and he wants to discount because his guy won that nothing bad happened. And that's just unacceptable. If there's any hint of fraud out there, we need to investigate. Any governor serving the people, this Commonwealth, would put aside his petty politics, would put aside his petty
The funniest part is, like, even though there's no evidence Biden actually lost Pennsylvania, even if he did, he'd still be the president.
Let me point out some hard facts here. We are in Adams County, named after our second president, John Adams, who famously said, facts are stubborn things. Let me lay out several of these inconvenient truths, as Al Gore would have us think. There have been many allegations of voting law violations across the state, and a governor serving the people would have to move heaven and earth to ensure no one was defrauded. But yet he's not moved to action. And even his Secretary of State, of course, says that there was no shenanigans of great concern. And I'll remind everyone that I was a no.
Remember, the question is, by this point, a month after the election almost, do you have any proof? Because sworn affidavits are not proof.
More secure than in Pennsylvania. And she sat there and blinked and couldn't give me a straight answer. That elections are more safe and secure in a war-torn country, devastated by conflict since 1979. What is going on here? The place where this all started in 1776, and we can't get an election right? You got to be kidding me here. And so as a result of her inaction, the governor's inaction, refusal to even look into any of the allegations and to discount the very essential freedoms of our citizens, we are here today to try to find out what the heck happened in the election.
Let's find out.
You know, and likewise, our Attorney General, our senior law enforcement official here, you know, instead of being focused on making sure things are lined up in kosher.
Kosher? Don't you dare.
Before one vote was counted in Pennsylvania, the day before the election declared Biden the winner. I mean, there's nothing to see here. Could you imagine if the shoe was on?
Let's see if we can get a better stream over here. This might be better for us.
A lot of problems there, and that opened the door to all the shenanigans and abuses and folly that we're dealing with here in this state this day. So what's going on here? Thousands of people from across the Commonwealth have reached out to us, tens of thousands, asking and demanding action, and they deserve it. happen. And you're going to have to decide, good people of Pennsylvania, on what happened and whether there's a strong case to be made or not. You know, the forgotten men and women of our great state feel betrayed by their government.
Forgotten men and women.
And I'm with them. I feel the betrayal as well.
He's acting like there's dead people on a battlefield somewhere.
And then hopefully come up with an approach where it never happens again. And the issues are galore. You're going to hear about poll watchers being denied access, where election software vendors refuse to testify before the General Assembly. What do they got to hide? Do we expect the people to trust their government? And we got to earn their trust. And this is no game. And the very republic very much is at stake. Anyone who loves this country has to put aside their petty partisan politics and allow the light to shine where it is. And we're going to find the truth and celebrate it. You know, as a soldier and now as an elected member of the state Senate, I'm not going to stand aside, and neither of the members around me are as well. We're going to fight the good fight for freedom.
Quick gut check. Do you guys think this guy is for real, or that he's just also playing a character the way all these Republicans are?
For power play is unacceptable. It's not going to happen. Thank you.
People clapping. Oh my God.
We do our great men and women in uniform and those who lay down their lives and gain a last full measure of devotion a great disservice if we stand aside and allow bureaucrats and corrupt politicians to steal their voice and maybe even steal an election. We'll find out. John 8:3. Thank you. John 8:3-6 says that if Jesus set you free, you're free.
There
indeed.
you go.
We're going to walk us free.
It's not done. It's not a real voter fraud hearing until religion comes into it.
We choose this day to walk as free men and women in honor of the sacrifice not only of Jesus on Calvary, but also in honor of the sacrifice of brave men and women in uniform who fought for and secured our freedoms. We will be relentless in our pursuit of the transparency, of accountability, and truth. The time for dithering, politics, and games is over. The time for truth and justice is now. In conclusion, as Benjamin Franklin was leaving Constitutional Hall in 1787, he was approached by Mrs. Powell, and Mrs. Powell ran up to him. We surmise she knew him personally. And she said, well, Mr. Franklin, what do we have? A monarchy or a republic? And he said, a republic if you can keep it. This is our time to keep this republic. Thank you, and God bless you.
What a lunatic.
Thank you.
That is weaponized.
Thanks, Senator Mastriano.
Oh my God, a standing ovation. These people are sick. This is a disease. Holy shit. Do they know Trump signed off on the transition? Like, are these people even remotely connected to reality?
To the introductions of our House and Senate members, let's begin with our representatives here at this end of the table. Gentlemen, ladies.
Is it on? Yeah, Representative Dave Zimmerman, serving the northeast part of Lancaster County.
Representative Greg Rothman, the 87th District, Cumberland County.
Representative Mike Jones, 93rd District, York County.
Mike Jones.
Representative Paul Schemmel, portions of Franklin County.
I like how people are still telling me this press conference is canceled.
Representative Rob Kaufman, 89th District, Northern Franklin County.
Representative Stephanie Borowitz from the 76th District.
By the way, guys, please do remember, most Jews are overwhelmingly liberal in this country. I know that in hearing some of the last names on this panel, you might think that that is different. One of the most left voting groups in the country is Jewish Americans, and they overwhelmingly rejected Trump, just as a reminder.
Cumberland County and all of Fulton County. Wow.
You've already met Senator Kim Ward. I believe you know Senator Mastriano. There we go.
Good afternoon. I'm Senator Mario Scavello from Monroe, Northampton County, and I can see New Jersey from my district.
Senator Mike Regan from Cumberland and York County.
Good afternoon. State Representative Dan Mell. Welcome to my 91st Legislative District.
Right.
Representative Frank Ryan from Lebanon County, Breakaway Probate. Thank you.
We are also joined on Zoom Senator Brooks and Senator Hutchinson from northwestern Pennsylvania, Senator Yaw from the Williamsport area, Senator Stefano from southwestern Pennsylvania, Senator Laughlin from Erie, Senator Martin from Lancaster County, Senator Pittman from Indiana County, Senator Pat Brown from the Lehigh Valley. Also, my job as chairman is to remind our panelists to keep their microphones muted until it is your turn to speak, and also remind everyone to strictly observe our time limits. One other reminder to our senators and witnesses at the request of our Senate attorneys, this is a legislative hearing. Our purpose is to listen to the complaints of our constituents, the oversight of government agencies, and the need for possible legislation. We all need to conduct ourselves accordingly. With that being said, Senator Mastriano, I believe you want to introduce our first witness for 15 minutes.
Oh, this should be great.
And we will hold, to the representatives and senators, so you understand, we will hold all of our questions until the conclusion of the sixth
this
panel.
is Rudy, isn't it? Is this Rudy right here?
I would just simply say, welcome to America's Mayor. Thank you, Mayor Giuliani, for being here.
Yep, that is him. Oh my God, this should be an absolute shit show. Oh, Rudy's getting a standing ovation. These people are deranged. These people are deranged. What is happening to this country?
Representatives, Senator Mastriani, and all the distinguished.
Now it's all quiet.
Pennsylvania, we are very, very honored and very appreciative that you are giving us an opportunity to be heard, which we've been denied almost uniformly by the media and by legislatures elsewhere. All we ask is that you listen to the facts that we're presenting and then evaluate it. I can't help but note that we're doing it here in Gettysburg. Over 156 years ago, the fate of our country hung in the balance right here on this hallowed ground.
Why can't we see his face?
For 3 relentless days of bloody close combat between 2 armies that lost over 50,000 casualties. The fate of our republic was really decided that we'd be one nation, one union, one government, sharing values that are enormously important to us.
Right.
And I don't want to overstate it, but I do believe that those values are at stake, not only in this election, but in the way this election was conducted and in what we're going to do about it. Because if we allow elections in the future to be conducted the way this election was conducted,
Democrats
we will
might
have
keep
lost
winning.
our democracy, our representative democracy. During the course of
What a crowd of lunatics, guys. This is insane.
our right of free speech, there's been censorship that I've never seen before, of an incredible nature by big tech, big networks, big companies. They only allow one side to be heard.
No, they don't.
And they refuse to allow the other side to be heard. It's almost as if they're afraid the American people.
It's funny. It's like if networks actually were doing the right thing, they would have stopped mentioning these ridiculous allegations of fraud 2 weeks ago. The fact that you turn on any network and they're talking about the fact that Trump still claims he won, they're obviously giving an audience to both sides.
In which it was done, the most dangerous thing is it is very, very similar in at least 6 states that we've been able to study. In other words, what we're going to describe to you with these witnesses happened in roughly the same way in Michigan, Wisconsin, Nevada, Arizona, and Georgia.
Which is completely out of the purview of these
primary
people.
Device were the mail-in ballots. You know there was a fierce debate over whether we should have mail-in ballots in the first place.
No, there wasn't.
Many scholars, many experts always felt that mail-in ballots were very...
We've had mail-in ballots since at least World War I. There was no debate about that. The debate was Trump didn't want it expanded.
We were warned by Justice Souter.
Yeah, one-sided debate. Well said.
We were warned by President Jimmy Carter and former Secretary of State James Baker in a report that they did on how to make elections more secure. They warned us that the one thing to do is do not go to general mail-in voting because every place it's been used, it's led to tremendous fraud. And that was reiterated, believe it or not, in an article in the New York Times in 2012, an article they have now forgotten they wrote, that explained the same thing. And I think what you're going to find as you study your mail-in ballot procedure here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and then in the 6 other places,
I like how Rudy's acting like this is going to be a big process of study. It's like the electors are finalizing this on December 14th.
That had become pretty expert at voter fraud to really go wild. So the witnesses we present are going to first show you that in the case of Philadelphia and in the case of Allegheny County,
I can't wait to hear from these witnesses.
The mail-in ballots that were received were not inspected at all by any Republican. They were hidden from Republicans. In the case of Philadelphia and Allegheny County, I can't be absolutely certain, but I do believe the witnesses will show that a Republican never got to see a single ballot. Now, you know how important that is to determining whether it is a valid ballot or not. There's only one time you get to do that, and that's when you separate the envelope that possesses the verifying information from the ballot.
Pure comedy.
The moment you separate them, you can no longer verify. You can't go back and recount. You can't go back and check paper ballot against the machine ballot, because it's a private ballot. It's an anonymous ballot. We want to keep it that way. The only thing that identifies...
Imagine if they went to their first witness and it was like Hassan Piker or something, like someone who's just not even participating in this and is just going to make a mockery of it.
Inspections have been allowed time immemorial in America, Pennsylvania, all over other 49 states. Several of the witnesses here have been doing this for 20 or 30 years. They've never heard of a situation in which a mail-in ballot was just put in without allowing a Republican...
The degree to which these senators, including this guy Mastroianno, are just so pleased with themselves that they're even allowed to be in the presence of Rudy. Like they are just desperate for this 15 minutes of fame.
Uniformly not allowed, kept out, put in chutes like they were cows to keep them away from seeing these ballots. Never happened before. Not only that, the same thing was done in Michigan, the same thing was done in Wisconsin, and on and on and on. What's the chance that on the morning of November 3rd or 4th, when they started the count, that in each one of those places, the Democrat leadership of these highly controlled Democrat cities that have some history for corruption, and in the case of Philadelphia, a long history of voter fraud. I could show you the convictions. I don't think I have to. What are the odds that they're all going to wake up with the same idea? After years and years of always...
The idea of counting ballots as they are continuing to come in. Crazy.
In a year in which we have a couple million of them per state, we're not going to allow any Republicans to see them. The person in Philly figures that out. Pittsburgh, Detroit, Milwaukee, Las Vegas, Nevada. Or is it more likely that this was a common plan?
Right.
That maybe started
ballots.
with the whole idea of having mail ballots.
Everybody got together and they were like, listen, we're going to have to be counting ballots. As the ballots come in, we're going to count them and we're going to report them. They conspired. Everybody conspired to count and report votes.
You have a much bigger range to do that. So when you hear that testimony about not being allowed to see the ballot, you have to understand it's much more important than just that individual ballot. On election night, when I went to sleep, maybe when you did, President Trump was leading in your state by somewhere around 700 to 800,000 votes, depending on when you went to sleep. That's a huge number of votes. 65% of the vote had been cast. Under normal circumstances, like if this were a fair media, your state would have been called for.
Rudy's about to present explosive evidence from the city of Honolulu, Pennsylvania, that will just blow the roof off of this hearing.
That's another battle. Michigan, we were ahead by 300,000 votes. Wisconsin, more. Georgia, we were down to 90% and ahead. What are the odds that they all switched overnight? They just switched by the next day. I think you're going to see how that. I think you're going to see how that happened. And I think there are a couple of statistics that you have to really closely look at. I'll just mention them and then we'll move on to the witnesses.
I also have munchkins for everybody. The chocolate ones I ate on the way in, but there are some of the jelly-filled and cinnamon sugar that I will be passing around.
Into your votes in just Allegheny County and in Philadelphia that were not observed by any single Republican. Those ballots could have all been for Joe Biden. They could have all been for someone else. They could have had no identifying data. They could have been from the same person. There could have been multiples of them. There could have been no name on them. We have no idea if that's true. And it will be very hard now to kind of put them together. We could ask.
I love how Rudy keeps saying there's a lot of things he's not sure about, but the witnesses might mention. It's like, shouldn't you know exactly what the witnesses you're bringing are going to be saying?
Envelopes. It'd be very interesting if they were kept. And it would be very interesting to see how many of them weren't filled out. But in any event, under the law of your state, which is set by you, those ballots are illegal. The judge mistakenly, in his opinion, said that we want to disenfranchise 6 million people. We don't want to disenfranchise anyone. We want to disqualify 682,000 votes so that 74 million people are not disenfranchised. Because that's what happened by the cheating that went on here. I'll give you one other enormously puzzling statistic. You sent out in the state of Commonwealth of Pennsylvania 1,823, absentee or mail-in ballots.
I've got a Rudy feed as well.
You received back 1.4 million approximately. However, in the count for president, you counted 2.5 million. By the cheating that went on here. I'll give you one other enormously puzzling thing. You sent out in the state of Commonwealth of Pennsylvania 1,823, absentee or mail-in ballots. You received back 1.4 million approximately. However, in the count for president, you counted 2.5 million. 0.5 million. I don't know what accounts for that 700,000 difference between the number of ballots you sent out and the number of ballots that ended up in the count.
Crazy.
That number, 2,589,242, was on your government website until yesterday. And yesterday it was removed without explanation. I'm going to be very interested in hearing what the explanation is. And I can't imagine you could possibly certify without knowing the explanation to that, as well as the explanation to the 22,686 mail-in ballots that were returned.
Why isn't anybody wearing masks? Like, this is just so stupid.
That's a trick. How about they were returned? How about 32,591 were returned the day after they were mailed? Another 20,000 were returned before they were mailed. Of course, I think this is a kind of a low count. And I guess the crooks in Philadelphia are disappointed in this. They only submitted 8,021 ballots from dead people.
Right.
Mail-in ballots for dead people.
Just so you guys know, listen, I'm just going to interject here because what Rudy's saying is just, it's trash. The whole dead people thing has been widely investigated. And a whole bunch of the people that they list as dead voters, there's no reason to think they're dead. Like, there's no obituaries. There's just, they have these lists of dead voters. A whole bunch of them, it's not clear why anybody would think they're dead. They're just older people. A whole bunch of other cases, the people were called by BBC and they picked up. They were like, no, I'm alive. I voted. I'm alive. So a bunch of cases were junior senior confusion where the dad was dead and incorrectly the junior's vote was counted as the senior, but there was no double vote. It's not like the kid voted as the dad and themselves. It was just a clerical error. Like, it's just, this stuff has been investigated. There's no dead people voting.
The United States Constitution makes it clear who has the responsibility for running this election. Article 2.
And people are pointing out there was a widow who voted as, it was Mrs. James Blaylock. And they were like, oh my God, James Blaylock's been dead for 12 years and he voted. And it was like, no, I voted. I'm Mrs. James Blaylock.
Each state shall appoint in such manner as the legislature thereof may direct a number of electors. It's the state legislature that controls this process. It's your power. It's your responsibility. And I think you know, and you have to convince the rest of your members, Republican and Democrat, they owe that to the people of your state.
Rudy reportedly tapped the witnesses' manna right before coming out.
Happens without consequence. If they can just enter 600,000 some odd mail-in ballots without allowing a single Republican to view it, what's to say that next time they won't do 1 million or 2 million? I know crooks really well.
We know.
You give them an inch and they take a mile, and you give them a mile and they take your whole country. So now we'll proceed with the witnesses.
Let's get to a witness. This should be wild.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Giuliani. I've been informed that we have also been joined on Zoom by Senator Kristen Phillips-Hill, Representative Don Kiefer, Representative Barb Gleim from Central Pennsylvania, Representative Darrell Metcalf from Butler County, and Senator Langerhoek from Johnstown area. Senator Mastriano, would you like to introduce our next panel for the, looks to me like several people for 15 minutes as well.
This should be wild.
Thank you, Senator Argo. So our witnesses, first off, Jenna Ellis, do you have any comments?
Oh my God, Jenna Ellis is here.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
Legal advisor to President Trump.
Thank you very much. And I'll reserve my comments for the end, and I would just echo everything that the mayor so eloquently stated. Thank you very much.
Yeah, eloquence.
Thank you. This is a revised list here. So we'd like to call forth Justin Queter from Philadelphia.
Justin Queter. All right.
Okay, outstanding. If you
Our
can come
first
up to the table,
witness.
please, my friend.
Let's see what he has to say.
Out of Pittsburgh. Kim, are you here? Come forth, please. We have a seat for you here.
Where's Eric Coomer?
Okay.
I thought he would testify.
Leah Hopes, where are you, Leah? Please come forth. Yeah, Kayla, could you push those 2 chairs over? Thank you. And that American flag is mine. If you set it on the table, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, that's his American flag that's been laid out there.
Greg Stenstrom from Delaware County. You're zooming in, I believe. Oh, he's here? Yeah, of course, I met you. Come on over, brother.
Could they possibly get worse cameras to transmit this?
If you can, among yourselves, please divide up the next 15 minutes, and again, we'll hold all questions.
Oh, 15 minutes total. This should be rapid fire insanity.
I'll start. Thank you, senators and representatives, for inviting me to this important hearing. My name is Justin C. Queter, Kweder. I am a resident and registered voter in the city and county of Philadelphia. I'm an attorney. I am barred here in the Commonwealth. I am a volunteer certified GOP canvass observer. I was present at the Philadelphia Convention Center during the pre-canvass, canvass processing, and counting of the ballots cast in this year's general election. I was first present as an observer at the Convention Center and at the count on Election Day. I returned as a volunteer observer to watch the process every day for the next 10 days. I'd approximate I was there for about 85 hours over those 10 days. Part of the reason that I kept going back was so that I could authoritatively speak about what I saw. And again, thank you for letting me be here. Because what I saw was problematic, to say the least. I can tell you that I am an eyewitness to many issues and irregularities that were observed in Philadelphia with the processing and counting of the vote. I was a witness to too many issues and irregularities.
There were Philly cheesesteaks served to the workers, but they came in from Jersey. It was completely false advertising.
Personally observed. First, the Philadelphia Board of Elections processed hundreds of thousands of mail-in ballots with zero civilian oversight or observation. The mail-in ballots were handled, processed, opened, and counted in Hall F of the Convention Center. Hall F is a vast room, approximately 350 feet by 350 feet. That's about 120,000 square feet.
Strong room.
The Board of Elections erected a fence approximately 50 feet into the hall that ran the length of the room. All observers were corralled behind the fence. More than 100 board workers were processed and opened mail-in ballots on the other side of the fence.
Have these people been sworn in? Like, is this under oath or not? I think that would be interesting to know, just as a curiosity.
Of about 10 feet to more than 200 feet away from us. Unlike what some may have reported in the media, the vast majority, and I'd estimate at least 96% of the board workers were processing mail-in ballots 15 to 200 plus feet from us. Due to the distance of the workers from the erected fences, it was impossible for me or any observer to see what the workers were doing with any type of specificity. The observers were not able to challenge any decision or determination being made about the processing of these mail-in ballots.
If there's 8 people supposed to share 15 minutes, I don't know how the timing's going to work.
Opportunity for observers to observe, challenge, or inspect the mail-ins being opened. I find this to be an issue and to be irregular.
It's irregular.
Move on to the second point. The pink highlighted duplicate ballots, which I haven't heard about, at least not in the media. As the weeks progressed, the observers were informed that the board was going to be duplicating damaged mail-in ballots that could not be read by the scanners. I was told that there were more than 5,000 of these damaged ballots. I was also told that the actual number was unknown and could be much higher. The process for duplicating these ballots was for 2 workers to work as a pair. One worker reading out loud what was marked on the original damaged ballot, and the second worker using a pink highlighter to mark the choice on the duplicate ballot. The board's plan then was to run the pink highlighted ballots through the scanners where they would be counted as votes. The board workers did this pink highlighter duplication work over the course.
I don't think this guy got the message that all of the people are supposed to speak for 15 minutes total. He's like 6 minutes in. And as people are pointing out, this is not evidence.
The pink highlighter could not be read by the scanners. They all had to be done again. All of the duplicated mail-in ballots had to be fixed. And the Philadelphia Board of Elections' solution to this problem was to give the workers who were working alone, individually, stacks of hundreds of what amounted to blank mail-in ballots. And the workers, individually, were to fill in the correct highlighted ovals with dark pen. No observation. They were marking thousands of blank mail-in ballots. The workers did this double recreation work for hours before the observers realized what was going on, because we weren't told what was going on. Only when the observers confronted the deputy commissioner about this irregularity was a system set up where the workers would show the observers each double recreated mail-in ballot by flashing
The highlighters, by the way, were fuchsia, not pink. He's lying.
feet away, for as good as that was. Thousands of mail-in ballots were ultimately counted in this way. Again, I find this to be an issue and to be irregular. As Senator Mastriano recently said—
How does he know in such detail if he was too far to see? I still am not understanding that.
Electoral system, end quote. And let me add a quote that Philadelphia City Commissioner of Elections Al Schmidt just made when he said about these recent elections in Philadelphia that these were the most secure and transparent elections in Philadelphia's history, end quote. Now, I wasn't around for every election in Philadelphia's history, but I can tell you as an eyewitness, for 10 days, for more than 80 hours, what I saw was not a secure and transparent election. There are major concerns about the legitimacy of hundreds of thousands of ballots that were counted in Philadelphia.
Now someone's coughing and nobody's wearing masks.
May I suggest to you that any restoration of faith on the part of Pennsylvanians in our electoral system can and will only be accomplished after an investigation into this election.
It's crazy how a guy who was unable to observe the election has 15 minutes of observations about the election down to detail.
Properly applied in the next election is, in my opinion, unacceptable. The issues, irregularities, and illegitimacy of what I saw leads me to conclude that the laws of the Commonwealth and of the United States were not being followed in Philadelphia when hundreds of thousands of ballots were counted in this year's general election. Action must be taken now to maintain our free and fair elections and to preserve and protect our elections' integrity. I look forward to answering any questions that you may have. Thank you.
How does everybody else speak within the 15 minutes?
Good afternoon. My name is Kim Peterson, and I appreciate that I'm here today. Thank you all for having me here today. I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I am here to tell you what I witnessed as a canvasser where the warehouse where they open the mail-in ballots and separate them from the envelopes, as we had been discussing.
Okay.
As the afternoon of Election Day, I went to the down to the warehouse to be a canvasser, to as a Republican representative, to be able to watch them open the mail-in ballots. And as the gentleman Justin just described, as I was led back to the area where we were able to view them opening the mail-in ballots, we were kept in a corral that was at least 15 to 20 feet from.
They were corralled with steer and hogs.
People opening the ballots. There were people that were 50, 100 feet from us. The closest that was 20 feet about, and you could not see at all the envelope, the ballot itself, where they were stacking them, anything that was required that we were able to see. There were also monitors up around the area. The monitors were pathetic, to be honest. They were fuzzy, looked like they were using old technology as far as, we have the most clearest.
Gordon Willis, reportedly the director of photography and managing the lighting here.
Were, probably from the 60s. You're looking at all of these multiple cameras, screenshots put together of people opening ballots, but you could not even see at all or witness anything if anything was any misdoing or anything going wrong. It was very discouraging on my part. I was very much looking.
Guys, she was discouraged. That probably means Biden lost.
Representing myself and Pennsylvanians in a fair election. And I was, discouraged about it. I love this country and I love Pennsylvania. I was not born and raised in Pennsylvania, but I have been here for 30 years. And it is very important to me that this election be fair. And thank you again for having me.
Our pleasure.
First and foremost, my name is Leah Hoops. I'm from Delaware County, Pennsylvania. I was a poll watcher on the day of election, and I was also present at the counting center in Chester, Pennsylvania. So first and foremost, thank you to this committee and all those involved, and especially Senator Mastriano and former Mayor Rudy Giuliani. To our fearless and brave president, thank you for being our shield and putting us first, and I am forever grateful.
Our shield.
It is an absolute honor to be
Trump really shielded us from the virus, didn't he?
Opportunity to speak about what took place in Delaware County, Pennsylvania. I feel as an American that it is my duty to help protect the integrity of our elections, not just for me, but for every American. There are many who have lost life and limb for my right to vote. I want to give a brief introduction and history of how I got involved in this election. 4 years ago, Donald Trump came down an escalator, and I knew that he was here to take back our country. I was born and raised in Delaware County in a conservative home. I was taught from an early age to love thy neighbor, defend your country, and by all means, always speak the truth. I took those values throughout my life and applied them in every avenue possible, which brings me up to the present. And about 18 months ago, I became a volunteer and assisted with a campaign for a magisterial judge. In that process, I was approached by my current chairman and became...
Imagine being given 15 minutes for 8 people to speak. You're supposed to point out the irregularities, and you go into your life's history of involvement in politics. It's like, what did you see, lady?
During this time, I started a watchdog group and reached out to the Thomas More Society. Now, associates, we've been focusing our efforts in election integrity. Our greatest efforts have been in following closely the newly elected and completely Democrat-run Delaware County Council and the Democrat Majority Election Board. This also includes any and all contractors, support staff, and any key players involved. What we found was actually concerning. Not only was private grant money used from the Center for Tech and Life owned by Google and Mark Zuckerberg, but pop-up voter sites were also approved. These pop-up voter sites were placed in heavily Democrat cities, including Chester and Upper Darby, Pennsylvania, in which case the grant money from the CTCL was used to pay for electioneering. It was literally a one-stop shop. Walk in, apply, get your ballots.
I'm sure this is an intro and they'll get to the proof of fraud soon, maybe? I don't know.
Areas. Let's also make note that the voting machine warehouse supervisor is a Bernie Sanders delegate.
Ooh.
Who is also solely responsible for every scanner, machine, V-card, and all machines with absolutely zero experience.
So they actually allowed Democrats to be involved. That's shocking.
$2.1 million spent
Oh my God.
to move the counting center from
It's lo-fi static. Give her 3 microphones. Oh my God. Why would they even change the mic? This is just a
Okay. Okay, sorry. Sorry, I forgot where I was. Okay, so the real story is the $2.1 million spent to move the counting center from the courthouse in Media, Pennsylvania, which is something that is...
Can you imagine? She was making such little sense. Someone just took the microphone away.
Let me explain to you the layout of the counting center. It is in the middle of a huge parking lot, which sits back on Seaport Drive next to loading docks.
Uh-oh.
It has multi-million-dollar connections to the company Power HRG and Subaru Park Soccer Stadium. The counting center was on the first floor, in which there were multiple places to bring in ballots in and out of, elevators and many rooms in which workers had access. I was there for 3 straight days. What became of concern was the back room, which had no observers.
She saw ballots being replaced with swordfish down at the docks. It was crazy.
No cooperation, complete resistance from election night and every day after. It took until our lawyer got an injunction to get into that back room in which pre-canvassing was transpiring. Even with an injunction, which was a joke, we were granted 5 minutes every 2 hours. And the setup was sitting in a chair 20 feet from any physical ballot. I truly wish I had enough time today to recreate what I witnessed and felt during those moments, but we did not gather here today just for me and my experience, but rather a collection
Good point,
of experience,
yeah. Glad she
experiences
recognizes
from Americans
that.
like myself. What I hope to achieve is for the public to understand is that we have stuck our necks out, have been intimidated, threatened, bullied, have spent countless hours away from our families, friends, and jobs. We have signed affidavits under penalty of perjury, which should be consideration enough to know that this is a very serious issue. I'm here for one thing only, and that is to speak the truth. This is not about party. This is about my country. Every American deserves transparency, truth, and be able to question those in power without fear of intimidation, bullying, or backlash. I hope this committee takes action if needed, and justice will be swift to anyone involved in fraudulent activity. The Republic is angry, disgruntled, tired, beaten up, and ready to defend this country.
This is sad.
Thank you. Without election integrity, we are just another banana republic. I thank you again for your time, efforts, and service, and it is an honor to be here and to be part of a historical moment. Thank you.
It's historically stupid. A historical moment.
Tough group to follow. My name is Gregory Stenstrom. I'm from Delaware County.
Oh boy.
I'm a father, a family man. I was a former commanding officer and executive officer in the Navy. I'm a veteran of foreign wars. I'm the CEO of my own private company. I'm a data scientist. I'm a forensic computer scientist. I'm an expert in security and fraud. Leah had recruited me for this election, and I was glad. Thank you for that. So,
what great fortune that she recruited a data science expert in advance of an election they now claim is fraudulent.
Another former U.S. Marine officer, and the two of us were the only GOP poll watchers in the city of Chester, which is about 40,000 people. Because of the consolidation for COVID, There were 7 polls we were allowed to, that we were able to make it to in 22 precincts. What we saw out there was pretty orderly and exciting. People were excited to vote. One of the things we saw out in the field was that people, quite a few people had done mail-in ballots. So they came in and they hadn't been updated in the Delaware County database yet. So they would come in and say, the database is not showing me on the database, I'd like to vote. So the process, one of the processes was to give them a provisional ballot. And then they would vote provisionally, and then later on their vote would be sorted out. That didn't happen. I observed, and the gentleman that was with me observed 7 different polls where the people were given a regular ballot. So they cast a vote and put it in. We let it happen a few times. We didn't jump all over them. It happened a couple of times. We went up. In all cases, the election judges were very forthcoming, very polite. They apologized and they said they couldn't do it. But that somewhat spurred me.
They couldn't do what? Like what? This guy's not even being clear in his story. Who said that? Who couldn't do what?
Building, not much around it. And I wanted to take a look. All day long, I had been told that there were 10 to 20 GOP poll watchers down there and that everything was well in hand. And out of curiosity, I decided to go down. I arrived at 6 o'clock with 4 other gentlemen, again, former military and some good citizens from
former
Delaware
military.
County.
Okay, well.
And we weren't allowed to get in until 11 o'clock at night, and we had to get some legal help to get us. So it took 5 hours to get upstairs. After that, what we saw here is what I saw is I really think the crux of this in Delaware County is, as an expert in this, I think it's impossible to verify the validity of about 100,000 to 120,000 votes. Now, Delaware County's got 425,000 registered voters. Approximately 300,000 of them voted. I don't know what the exact number ended up. Mayor Giuliani had nailed that number. But of that number, over 100,000 are in question in my mind. What I saw as a forensics expert was an election process that was forensically destructive,
right,
in the manner it was conducted, with the envelopes being separated from the ballots and gone to the other side of the room. And the problem with that from being forensically destructive is that when you go to do a recount, okay, the machines did a pretty good job of recounting. So if I have 120,000 ballots, mail-in ballots at one side of the room and envelopes at the other side of the room, it's still going to come out 102,000 votes for Vice President Biden and 18,000 votes for President
You guys
Trump.
getting this?
I don't care how many times you recount those votes, the ballot's going to come out the same every time. So the notion of a recount in a forensically destructive process doesn't work very well. What I saw there was a chain of custody in all cases that was broken. It was broken for the mail-in ballots, the drop box ballots, the election day USB card flash drives. In all cases, the chain of custody and the procedures that were defined by the Delaware County Board of Elections and Election Process Review they didn't follow one. I couldn't even redline this multi-page document because the entire document would be...
Well, he couldn't redline it because he didn't have a red marker.
So I personally observed USB V cards being uploaded to the voting machines by the voting machine warehouse supervisor on multiple occasions. I saw this personally. I brought it to the attention of the deputy sheriff who was there stationed, who was a senior law enforcement officer. And I brought
He brought USB V cards to the sheriff. This was during the 5 hours when he couldn't get into some building?
It is not being observed. He's not part of the process that I can see. And he's walking in with baggies, which we have pictures of, and it was submitted in our affidavits. And he was sticking these USBs into the machines. So I personally witnessed over that happened 24 times, over 24 times.
Wow.
We have multiple other witnesses that saw it, including Democrat poll watchers.
Oh my God.
And we were told, I was told the next day by the solicitors, well, actually not the solicitor, but the attorney that we had secured, that they said every election they leave a couple of USBs in the voting machines and they're brought back, and generally the warehouse manager comes over and puts them in.
Okay.
So in talking to the U.S. Attorney General McSwain and other law enforcement officers, I found out that was not the case. That generally, more than two is unusual. So they denied they did it, but as of today, 47 USB cards are missing, and they're nowhere to be found. So I was told personally that these 24 to 30 cards that were uploaded weren't there. Those cards, I demanded that they didn't update the vote live time.
This guy's really blowing this whole voter fraud thing wide open. I don't know how Joe Biden's going to be able to survive this.
What the result was, and it was 50,000 votes. And I think as a computer scientist, an American, and a patriot,
right,
it doesn't matter who those 50,000 votes were. I'll tell you they were for Vice President Biden. But what was shocking to me as an American, as someone...
Wait, now are these 50,000 part of the 120,000 he says he knows about, or is this a separate 50,000?
Happen. So several other things that came up was on Thursday, it took us 3 days for them to obey the court order that I secured with Leah's help and the help of the Thomas More Society, who we thank incredibly good patriots. They got us in there. They got the order for us to get in and watch it, look at the back offices, which were locked for 5 minutes every 2 hours. I went in, I was the first one allowed to go in.
Despite this guy's claims for being a forensic data scientist and an expert in all these different things, why do I have the feeling this is the type of guy who would email me through my website and say they think Zuckerberg censored me because they were watching me on YouTube and Twitter kicked them out?
Was 70,000 unopened mail-in ballots. They were in boxes of 500, stacked in neatly. The gentleman that came in with me was a Democrat poll watcher, is a forensic pathologist, a very detailed, very dedicated man, and he took meticulous notes as well. And I verified with him, are you seeing what I'm seeing? We both agreed as GOP poll watchers and a Democrat poll watcher that we had witnessed 60 to 70,000. We had a little bit of a disagreement there. The problem with that was by that time, the mail-in ballots had already been counted.
Wait, so is this 60 to 70,000 now different from the 50,000 he just talked about from the USBVs?
The question is, where did the 70,000 ballots go? And nobody knows. We have a picture in here of a large number of boxes that I took that were filled with what appeared to be ballots sitting by the Blue Crest machine. They were there for about 3 hours and then they disappeared. I thought it notable when I watched it, the first when they were taking the ballots up and down. I said, I am an expert in fraud. I saw the ballots
He's an expert in
going
fraud.
up multiple elevators and racks. And I think a lot of well-meaning people and a lot of honest people were there doing that. They were trying to participate in the process. And I would say that 99% of the people there, the way the process was designed, I believe that people thought it was a non-fraudulent process. I heard that said many times. I was, I said, there's no fraud going on here. I said, well, I'm not, I didn't even bring that up. But I think people saw what they wanted to see, and they saw what was intended for them to see. I called it at one point Kabuki theater. I said it was all designed.
This is a Boston guy, right?
It was entertaining. There were cameras on it. When we finally got into the back room where the votes were being ingested, as a data scientist, I want to see where the data is coming in. And I wanted to know the universe of the votes. Well, the universe of the votes was only supposed to be 120,000 mail-in ballots. We were told there were 6,000 ballots remaining. So I said, okay, we have a universe of 126,000 votes. And then when I get back there, the universe wasn't 126,000 votes. The universe was 200,000 votes. So
Now,
that's
so are the 50, 60, 70, and 120,000 votes part of the 200,000?
Was only manned by one person. People ask me all the time, how do people commit crimes? I know there's a lot of theories here, and I always look for the simplest thing. People that stuff that, sticking USB sticks in, putting ballots in. Very simple thing.
People were told to bend over and cough to ensure they were not occulting a USB V drive.
Tory words and, like fraud and so forth. As a forensic computer scientist, my interest is in the data. Where did it go?
Computer
Where
scientist.
Where did the spoilage go?
Oh my God.
How did the data come in and go out of the system? So I think as a scientist, we need to look at that. We need to audit that. What was really upsetting to me, and the most upsetting, was I had spoke to multiple law enforcement agencies and literally begged multiple law enforcement agencies. I said, go in.
He was begging.
And it's in order to prove, prove that nothing's happening. You either exonerate yourselves in the process or refute what I'm saying, please. It's a very simple process. Just go get the forensic evidence from the computers. It's a simple process. You turn the computer off. It's non-destructive. Takes moments, maybe half an hour, 20 minutes.
It takes a half hour to turn the computer off now?
You open the computer up. You take a device called a bit blocker. You put it in the hard drive. It's done under the observation of law enforcement officers. They take a forensic image of the drive, put it all back together. It wouldn't have taken more than an hour to image all 5 machines.
I guarantee you no one in this room is even vaccinated against USB-V.
Despite my objections, and that was 3 weeks ago. Lastly, when they said, well, we've got all the forensic records and so forth. We just learned 2 days ago that virtually all chain of custody logs, records, yellow sheets, everything was gone. All forensic evidence, all custody sheets in Delaware County are gone. They had a signing party where they sat down and poll workers were invited back to recreate those logs.
He also saw people in the back pouring Blue Label on hard drives and lighting them on fire.
So we have a situation where we have 100,000 ballots to 120,000 ballots, both mail-in and USB. They're in question. Now, there's no cure for this. There's no remedy for this. As a home charter, we could have a re-election in Delaware County for our own representatives within our own town, but there is no cure for that for the President of the United States.
Does anybody understand if the votes were on a USB drive, a USB-V drive, in one envelope, 2 envelopes, and whether they were filled out with black or pink highlighter, and whether they were on pink or yellow or white paper?
We're so, had done things, followed their own procedures, which they created almost unilaterally, we would be in a situation where they could exonerate themselves and they could say, Mr. Stenstrom, you've been misinformed. We have evidence
about
here
which
that
of the
refutes
100
what
things
say.
you said.
But that's not the case. They can't do that. So I say, if you can't certify that vote, and you can't certify 100,000 votes out of 300,000, then you can't certify Delaware County. And I'm done, and thank you for your time and patience.
I like how people in the crowd claim to understand it.
Thank you all to this panel. Before I have Senator Mastriano introduce the next 15-minute panel, I want to note that we've also been joined on Zoom by Representative Kathy Rapp from Northwestern Pennsylvania. Doug?
Thank you, panelists. If you can stay in the area, we're going to bring up the next group here. We're going to save questions and answers for the end. Mr. Mayor, I understand my list might not be synchronized. I'm going to ask you to introduce the next folks coming up.
Yeah, let's hear from Rudy on the list.
If you could pass the mic to the mayor, somebody.
Everybody talking
Thank
to the
you all.
mayor, guys. No masks. Talk right into it.
We could call up four more witnesses like this, or we could now put on the statistical expert who could explain some of this, and then put on the additional witness. Either way you prefer. Okay, then we'll call.
We can't hear anybody. All right, guys, I think we've probably had enough of this. I'm going to wrap. I've got some cooking to do for Thanksgiving and that type of thing. I really appreciate you guys joining me for this completely cartoonish farce. We are going to be bringing you all of the important events over the next month and a half, including the Georgia Senate debates, Georgia Senate results, the inauguration, maybe at some point, some kind of a press conference from Donald Trump if he ever takes questions again. And in order to be notified of that, make sure if you're watching on YouTube right now, you hit that subscribe button. It's completely free. I'm selling you nothing. Just hit that subscribe button. If you're watching on Twitch, please make sure to follow us. We're 2/3 of the way to our first 100,000 Twitch followers. I hope everybody, if you're doing anything for Thanksgiving, I hope it's great. Remember, if you add brown sugar and maple syrup to sweet potatoes, it's no longer a vegetable. It becomes a dessert. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. And I'll see everybody again very, very soon.